So you've put all this work into setting up your Apple Home smart home. You got all your automations, your rooms, scenes, zones, all that stuff working just the way you like it. And then the worst case scenario happens. Something gets corrupted, maybe it's user error or something you've done, maybe it's some update that Apple pushes or that comes along and screws everything up. Who knows? It happens though. I hope it never happens to you, but it does happen. I'm gonna show you the whole process of backing up and restoring your HomeKit home and some of the available options as well as the limitations, because there are some of those as well. We'll discuss everything you need to know so that you'll be ready and prepared in case you ever need it. Don't wait until it's too late to start thinking about this. Let's go. Sponsored by Bark. Yo, what's up guys? Thanks so much for joining me. My name is Shane if you're new around here, and this channel is all about building an easy Apple Home smart home with new videos published every Sunday and live streams every Wednesday. So I've got a lot of questions and comments lately from people who've just, been having issues with their HomeKit setup. Automations are not running, or maybe you're all out of whack. Maybe some Apple update came and ruined your whole setup. There could be a number of reasons why, but regardless the cause, I think it's a pretty good idea to create a backup essentially of your smart home, especially if you have, things running smoothly in case you ever need to restore from a backup. Now, unfortunately, HomeKit or the Apple Home app does not give us the opportunity to create backups or restore backups natively. This is unfortunate, but like so many other times where Apple falls short, we do have some great third-party app developers filling in the gaps. There are currently 2 apps or ways that I know of to create a HomeKit backup and restore that backup, and that's either using the Controller for HomeKit app or the Home Plus app. Now, both are third-party HomeKit apps. Both are great apps for HomeKit in general, and both can really extend the functionality of your smart home setup. I've recommended them both here on the channel in the past, and both can actually do a number of other features in addition to backups. We're not really going to get into all that today. I will put links to the feature pages of each app below in the description in case you want to check them out on your own. But we're talking backups here today, and there certainly are some limitations to these backups to be aware of that we'll definitely cover, so pay attention to that. And that's really just because Apple still limits a lot of the things that these third-party app developers can get access to, but we'll kind of go over that in a second. So what I've done is created a separate smart home, basically a test home here on my iPad. So I'm gonna kind of use this and I'll show you the whole process. This sample smart home has a few accessories in it, a couple smart plugs, a camera, security system, has a HomePod mini that's acting as the HomeKit hub of this smart home. All right, so let me just kind of show you real quick what I've got going on here with this test home. Like I said, let me get over to the right home. All right, and so here you go. In this test home, you can see I've got a camera. I've got some scenes here, just 3 scenes right now. I've got separate rooms created. Kitchen, living room, office, a few accessories. There's a studio. This is a smart plug. It's displaying as a light right there. We've got coffee pot. So names, pay attention to the names, automations, all that kind of stuff. Those are the kind of things that can be backed up. Now, if we open up the Controller for HomeKit app, you can see again, here is my accessories right now. And we've got some automations set up, a few automations, not many. We've got our scenes right here. So these are the ones I created. These are default scenes created by the Apple Home app. We've got our rooms and zones. So this is all going to be backed up. Now, there's a couple of things to take note of before you do your backup that I want to point out. First of all, backups, there is no ability for third-party HomeKit apps or any other way to automatically add devices to your smart home, like to pair them to your Wi-Fi and that kind of thing. So if you do have to start from scratch or create a new home or whatever, you're gonna have to repair all your devices to your new HomeKit home or however you set it up manually, scanning those setup codes. And I bring that to your attention just to know that one, backups can't do that, so you will have to do that on your own. Another thing is it's a really good idea to save all your setup codes in one place. There's the Home Pass app, which is a great app. I've used that, still use that. You can also do do that here in the controller for HomeKit app. So I'm going to show you this app, and then I'm going to show you the Home Plus app also, what this looks like. But the controller for HomeKit app does also allow you to save HomeKit codes. So if I go over here into my HomeKit codes or my setup codes, I can see that section right here. It'll show me all the accessories in my home, and actually shows me which ones I've already saved a code for. And you can see I've got these all right here. I can click on it and there's my setup code. Now I can remove this code. Let me just show you real quick. If you didn't have them all, it would show you right here, like I don't have one saved right there. So I would want to do that before I do my backup. So let me go ahead and scan this code. This is actually one I have right over here, so I can scan this and boom, there you go. It's now saved. So I can always access this. Usually these codes are on the devices, but in the event they're not, or they're hard to reach places, maybe outside, whatever, it's a good idea to have all these stored here. And even if you delete your home or start a new home, if you save a backup, it will save all these accessory setup codes in your backup. So that's a good idea to do before your backup. The other thing I wanted to mention before we actually do the backup is your automations and scenes and stuff like that. So there's some things in the Home app that third-party HomeKit apps can't access. Mainly with automations, it can't access any kind of home pods or Apple TVs. So if you have any automations set up with those, that won't be able to be backed up or restored. Also, anything that uses convert to shortcut, that's exclusive to the Apple Home app. So you can't back up or restore those because the third-party apps don't have access to that. So, and then one more thing to mention is that third-party apps have to generate or use scenes in the automation. So what I mean by that is, let me go back to the Home app, okay? And I'll show you real quick what I mean. So here in my automations, I've got 3 automations created right here, okay? So in this one right here, when anyone arrives home, I have this set to run a scene instead of choosing individual accessories like this, right? Instead of doing that, this is running a scene. And that's good for your backups. That's what you want, okay? Now, this one right here is not. This one is actually controlling individual accessories, right? So at 9:30 p.m., it's gonna do these things: arm the security system and turn off these lights. Well, if I go back into the controller app and I look at these same automations, all right, so when anyone arrives home, you can see here, it's gonna execute this scene, right? No issues there. That's great for our backups. This one right here, the one we just mentioned, it doesn't. It controls these accessories individually. And you can see here, we get this kind of message. It says, actions are Apple Home exclusive. Unfortunately, you cannot change them with third-party apps. This automation may contain a shortcut or AirPlay or HomeKit TV actions. Like I said, you'll see the same error or message anytime there's a HomePod or anything like that in the automation. What I'm gonna do is just basically create a scene instead that does the same thing. So let's just create a scene, and I wanna do a custom scene. We'll just call this evening scene. So now I'm gonna add my accessories, and I want the security system. I wanted all these in there except for a HomePod. Again, doesn't like the HomePod stuff in the third-party app, so I'll choose done. I'm gonna turn these off, and I want this to arm to home. So that'll run. So again, just creating a scene right here. There we go, our evening scene is set. So let's go back to our automations. And instead of running these automatically, we can just run the scene instead. So I'm gonna deselect all these. It was this evening scene, choose done. And it's kind of a good practice, I feel like, to use scenes anyways. They're just a little bit easier to edit and stuff like that within your automations. You can kind of use multiple scenes or use scenes in multiple automations and stuff. It's just a little easier, so it's something I kind of like to do anyways. Now if we go back to the controller for HomeKit app, you're gonna see that has been updated. Now it says it's gonna execute this evening scene, and we don't get any messages, any errors or anything like this. So this is gonna be able to back up and restore beautifully, all right? So we won't have any issues there. So that's just something else I wanted to mention. So now that we got our HomeKit codes and everything stored, our automations are all set up good, so we should be able to do a backup and restore it, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna delete this home completely. So I'm gonna delete it. I'm gonna go around and re-add the few devices that I have in this home, and then we're gonna restore the backup and show you what that looks like. So to create your backup in the Controller for HomeKit app, you're gonna go to the backup section right here. Let's go ahead and create a backup created, and we can see latest backup. You can look at all your backups here and even show other homes. This is gonna be important if you delete your home and you add another home. That's what we're going to use. Okay, so I just created this one right here. And one thing to note, your backups will get stored. When the first time you run this, it's going to ask you where you want to store these backups. You can change this anytime you want in the settings. I would recommend right here, so you can see backup in the settings. Mine is storing in the iCloud, in my iCloud. I would recommend putting it in the cloud. You know, you can save it locally too, but you put it in the cloud. You know, it's going to be backed up and stuff like that. So anyways, back to our backups. If I choose on that last backup, I can see everything that was actually saved in my backup. So I've got 3 accessories that were saved. All right, and I've got my scenes that were all saved. Automations, 3 automations, no service groups. I've got 5 rooms and 2 zones. So this is the data that's being saved in the backup and can be restored. All right, so with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and delete this home so I can do a backup. I'm gonna show you, I am actually deleting the home right now. I'm gonna go into my home settings. Here we go, here goes nothing. And all the way down, remove home. I'm going to remove this home. So this is no longer a HomeKit home. I'm wait on that to happen. It'll take a second. It's gonna remove it completely. Okay, but I have that backup, so I'm good to go. The only thing now that I have to do is I'm gonna create a new home. So let's go ahead and just create that new home. I'll show you that real quick. New home. Let's call this Shane's Restored Home. I'll choose save. There you go, brand new home. So I will have to pair all my accessories to this home again, but then I can use that backup to restore stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. All right, and while I'm restoring all these devices throughout my house, let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Bark. Bark is the best child monitoring tool that I've used to keep my kids safe online. I've been using Bark Premium for many years. Bark monitors your kids' devices as well as over 30 different social media platforms and looks out for red flags like suicidal ideations, cyberbullying, sexual exploitation, and so much more. My wife and I both love Bark and have been using it for many years to protect both of our kids online. What I love about it is that it monitors everything for, you know, these types of red flags, which means you don't have to manually go through everything on your kids' devices. Instead, I get notifications for anything I should be aware of, like cyberbullying, depression, or anything else. I think this is super important, especially in today's climate, and I just really appreciate this tool. If you have kids or grandkids or even no other parents, definitely check out Bark. You can get a free 7-day trial of Bark Premium by clicking the link below in the description. Thanks, Bark, for supporting this channel and for all the amazing tools you provide us as parents to help keep our kids safe online. All right, and I'm back. I think we got everything all set up. Let's take a look. All right, let's open up the Home app, go to my restored home. Welcome to Shane's Restored Home. As you can see, it is a new home. I did in fact delete it. I'm going to continue, and I have paired these devices. As you can see, I've put the HomePod back in here. I've got 2 plugs, and you see the naming is different. It's just generic. I just quickly added to the kitchen cameras here. I just added everything, quickly went through the prompts. You can see we only have the kitchen. There's no other rooms. Automations, we've got no automations in here. So fresh install. Now let's do our backup. Let's go over to the Controller for HomeKit app and check out our accessories here. Let's make sure we're in the right home. Shane's Restored Home. You can see we've got our few accessories here. It's just showing us Eve Energy, SwitchBot, Plug Mini, those naming conventions, all that's gone. Accessories, scenes, there's no scenes. Automations, no automations. Okay, so let's do our backup. And you can create your first backup here because this is a new home, but do not worry, you can access your previous backups from other homes. Just go to All Backups and now Show All Homes. Now this is the one, it was called Shane's Test Home. We did that, it was 13 minutes ago. And again, it'll show you all the stuff right here that it will restore. If you want to go in, you can kind of do things individually if you want. You can do it all together. So we'll tap on assign accessories here before we can do the backup. It's trying to load missing accessory information. It says, if you ignore this, we might need your help identifying these accessories. So it's looking like it was having trouble finding the Eve Energy. So let's try to reload that. Okay, there we go. And it loaded successfully that time. So maybe just a connection issue. Again, just re-added everything to the network and stuff like that. So continue and we can restore. All right, there we go. Let's see, it says controller did not enable or disable any automations while restoring your home. Do you want to restore the activation state of your automations? Now I'm going to choose yes. So that will activate these automations here. Restore. Some of your automations contain actions that control accessories directly without using a scene. Direct actions are exclusive to Apple Home and cannot be restored with controller. Look at automations in the backup to get more information about the used direct actions. You need to recreate these actions with Apple Home manually. So this is what I was talking about earlier. I like that they do tell you this and they let you know exactly which automations will need to be rebuilt. And like I said, this is the one that controlled that HomePod. So of course, as mentioned, the controller app or any third-party app cannot control HomePods and automations. So, and restore complete, and I will close. Okay, so now in the controller app, let's tap on accessories and you can see right here, boom, we got our coffee pot. It tells me my closet cam, so it's renaming the accessories, it's bringing all that information back into them automatically. Of course, you can control them on and off here. Let's see, our scenes have all been restored. So these are the scenes that I set up. Let's check out our automations. So 9:30, let's check out this one. It is active, which we said, and again, it's running that evening scene, so that's why we were able to do this and back it up. Because it's using a scene in the automation, everything is working just fine from that backup. The other one was this one right here. Also uses a scene. This was an Arrive Home scene that I created. The only one that's given me an issue, of course, was that HomePod because it's controlling a HomePod or that HomePod automation. So I'll have to rebuild this one in the Home app. So again, just letting you know, those are the limitations. Rooms, all of our rooms have been restored. Our zones have been restored. Everything's looking good. Let's go ahead and jump into the Home app. And as you can see, camera is working right here. We've got our scenes are back, our rooms are all back, our automations have been restored. So all that information that you all that time and stuff that you take to build these automations and scenes and your rooms and zones, all that stuff is all restored, which is really nice. And it looks like that went well, okay? Let's go ahead and jump in the controller for HomeKit app real quick. And let me pull up the correct home. So Shane's restored home. Okay, so you can access any of your homes here, but of course we've got our rooms upstairs. This is everything that's of course been set up. This app is pulling in HomeKit data just like the controller for HomeKit app. I just want to show you real quick in this app, if you do use this one, you can do those backups here as well. You go to settings. I'm not going to delete my home and do all that again, but you just go into your settings and right here you can create backup and restore from a backup, just like we did in the other app. I do feel like the controller for HomeKit app is a little bit more robust in some of the features and the options you have there and the way it kind of tells you everything along the way, but you can do all that here in this app too, so you can create a backup. The difference here is that this one will ask you where you want to save it each time, so you can save it to your iCloud just like I did. I have a folder right here in my iCloud for my Home Plus backup, so I can just save it right there, and then you can of course restore and then go in and find it and restore your home from a backup with this app, just like you can with the controller for HomeKit app. Both apps provide a great option for backing up your HomeKit setup and just, great features in general. Honestly, I think the controller for HomeKit app, like I said, it's a little bit more robust than some of the options regarding backups and maintenance type of stuff. Nice that you can store setup codes and also archive automations or scenes You know, maybe if you're just not using them, you might want to bring them back in the future. Great for holiday setups and stuff like that. They even have a feature to help you migrate from one Apple ID to another Apple ID and replace accessories for your HomeKit setups. You know, the more automations you build and scenes and rooms and zones, the more stuff you start setting up like that in your HomeKit home, the worse it'll be if you ever have to start from scratch or whatever. So those backups can really come in handy. The controller for HomeKit app also has a new custom notifications feature. That's pretty cool. I did a video on that not too long ago, which you can check out right here. Be sure to subscribe for new HomeKit videos every week. And if you want to support the channel even further, consider becoming a channel member for about $5 a month and get access to our members only Discord server and some other cool perks. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.